Hi, Lofo here. Um, yeah, so last night, someone linked me this video on Jason Riot accusing him of cheating. I haven't read the tweet longer. I watched most of the video. I honestly, I was about to go to bed when I was watching it. I was pretty tired. So, but I wanted to talk about just some of the stuff in the video. I was asked by some people because I also went over Alf's and P Mage's stuff when they were accused of cheating, and I'm 100% confident both of them are cheaters. So I was asked to look at Jason Riot's stuff as well, and whether he is cheating or not. And so first up, full disclosure, Jason is a friend of mine. I like him and I trust him, and it would be upsetting to me very much if he were a cheater. So I'm going to say that right now. Which means that I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and you as a viewer might not give him the same benefit of the doubt as I would. But I need to say that up front because otherwise people might accuse me of bias, which I probably have a slight bias just because, again, we're friends. I don't want to believe that he's a cheater, and it would honestly break my heart if he actually were cheating. Um, that said, I'm going to try and be as even-handed here as possible and objective, and I'll try to talk about that. So first thing, I kind of just want to follow the structure of the video of the accusation. Um, in terms of intro and the accusation and the general background kind of stuff, I've known Jason quite a while. Um, I I've connected with him fairly well. I've worked with him. I worked with him on Battlefield of the Gods for a bit. We had some differences, so we don't work together anymore, but we're still friends. Um, and so the first thing is, what are some of the accusations I saw against Jason were comparing him to some other Saul players and how they execute things. Um, so Jason has told me quite a while ago, not recently, quite a while ago, that he plays on pad. Um, and I believe him. So first of all, the way he executes is consistent with playing on pad, not with scripting. And second of all, if he is playing on pad, which he seems to, and if he were actually scripting, he would just tell me he played on keyboard or something, because that's just easier than lying and saying he may play on pad. If he's playing on pad, it would be very difficult to run scripts. Unless he's like playing on pad and running scripts at speed or something. Like, I'm just, if we're taking like Occam's razor here, the simplest explanation, if I were a cheater running scripts, I would just say I play on keyboard. Or I'd say I play on stick because it's honestly, input-wise, looks pretty similar to keyboard. Um, so it's very strange that someone would, the idea that someone would script while running on pad. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, I'm going to show you just something in Type Lumina real quick. So they said that his FRCs don't look the same as other FRCs. So there's a couple things there. They compared to two other players, a fairly small sample size. Which okay, so they said Ohiro uses a macro. Ohiro does not use a macro. He just has clean execution. Ohiro's an arcade player. He does not need a macro. Um, I also don't use macros. My inputs are not as clean as Ohiro's, but I'm sure if you watch more of Ohiro's games, like a larger sample size, you see more of it. I would be very surprised if Ohiro uses a macro. Um, so so I'm going to use Type Lumina here just because you can see input display is a little easier there. So let me just load that up real quick. Okay. So you can see my backlog. I have, if we have PSHD is similar to AVCD in this. I'm using this instead of like X or something just because you can see the input display very easily. You see, I have a similar kind of input to what he's doing. And if you play on pad and you have your inputs, leftmost button is K, top is S, bottom is P, and right is H, and you press rolling your thumb from the H button to the top two buttons, and you just try to hit all three with your thumb, you will get this input. So if this is what his inputs are for pad, see, I get that input as well. Now mine's not as clean. Maybe if I were playing on pad, I would have a cleaner input, but that's normally the kind of thing that you would get. And when I watched the video of where they were showing the FRCs, maybe I can find that. Have a look. Jason's FRCs. So they said that the stuff always looks the same. It didn't look the same to me. So here they have one here, right? So it says he presses SH, and then a frame later he presses P, and then it's PSH, and he releases the P, and then does SH, and then H. That's similar to what I just did on pad. And he says that his Gunflame FRCs always look like this. He also says that we'll come back to this in a sec, actually. But let's just talk about this. Gunflame FRCs always look like this bit. So here we go. We have SH, P, and then, but he doesn't release the P here. He releases all three buttons at the same time, and then the H. And then we'll do another one. Now he does H, PSH, and then holds the P, and then does H. So notice that these are holding buttons for different amount of frames. Your computer cycles do not do this, okay? You don't get this kind of variance in terms of lag, right? Because the computer knows how to hold the buttons at the same time. You're not going to get this through sleep-wake cycles. The reason you get delays is the sleep-wake cycles are not exactly 60 hertz, and you'll get minor subframe delays. It's very rare that you'll get any delay at all. As someone who's done scripting, not in matches, I do them. Anyone who watches my matches knows that I'm not good enough at actually scripting matches, but I do tool-assisted combos. Check them out on Twitter. So someone who does that, I can tell you, usually I'll drop one frame over like maybe a 20-second script. It's very rare to drop frames very consistently. So they were saying he gets first frame FRC 75% of the time. If he were doing an actual script, he would probably get it, I'm guessing, like 99% of the time. Like, it's very, very rare. Because again, it's a subframe drop. You would have to start on the end of one frame and then get a slight cycle delay on your PC, and to get that within the same window, which is pretty rare. So it has to happen twice. Now, my PC is pretty beefy, so it's possible someone else's PC kind of sucks, and therefore it drops frames more often, but it would be pretty rare. Like, that doesn't generally happen. And we're going to look at some more FRCs here. There's another one. And this one is yet different. He's actually not even holding 6 for this. So this to me doesn't look like scripting at all. These are quite different. Now he's holding 4 or 1 while doing it. It could be a button macro, but honestly, it looks different each time. So I don't think this is cheating. Also, I think that if you were going to cheat, you would cheat hard stuff. If we look at Alf, what did he script? He scripted these long combo video stuff, right? Like, you would script those Sidewinder stuff. It's not that hard to consistently do FRCs. I mean, it's hard, for sure. But someone with good execution, they can do FRCs. And I don't think, like, what's the alternative? That Jason is scripting his Gunflame FRC and he's doing the insane Sidewinder combos by hand? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Also, Sidewinder combos are specific enough that they're difficult to script because they're very hitbox dependent. Whereas the stuff that Alpha is doing is not. It's a lot just plug and play. So, I mean, also I should know Alpha knows a lot of combo video or combo theory as well. I should have covered this at the beginning, but another thing about Jason is I say this, Jason, if you watch this, I mean this in the nicest possible way, okay? Jason doesn't know that much about scripting type stuff that I can tell. I've talked to him about tech stuff before, and he expressed difficulty in being able to follow what I was saying. So, given what I'm looking at right now, if he is cheating, it's a very weird cheat that is very sophisticated in a way to not look like a cheat, and I don't think Jason has the technical know-how to make that. He doesn't have it. It would be very, very difficult to do, to make it look like you're not cheating while you're cheating. Just covering some earlier things in the video, the one with the micro dash sweep, that doesn't make any sense to script. If you're going to script something, again, you'd script your Sidewinder combos. You only have so many macros to work with. You would pick certain specific things to do every time. That's why when you watch PMage, he does the instant air throws, that sort of thing. You wouldn't script that. So, And so for Alf, I suspect what Alf does is he loads up a specific set of macros when he plays against a particular player and when he sees the matchup. Because Alf actually, okay, I hate to say this because Alf and I have our differences, let's say, but Alf is legitimately a good player, right? He's actually good at Guilty Gear. He wasn't scripting for a long time, and he was doing fairly well. Alf is the kind of guy who did really well and then couldn't quite break the ceiling of where he was at, and so he turned to scripting to do that. And so for him, scripting was just a little bit of a supplement, just that little bit of steroids. Whereas P-Mage is just an out-and-out cheater. Like, that dude just can't play the game. Like, he's just bad. I don't know what to tell you. So, if I were playing like Jason, I would be playing more like Alf. I wouldn't be scripting just gunflame FRCs. I'd be scripting like something like dash up wild throw into full sidewinder combo, right? And having played against Jason, he actually drops the sidewinder combo off throw. He does. So that's just, that would be a key thing that you would script. You'd have a button that says input wild throw and do the sidewinder combo. And like, it just doesn't always work. The other thing is, they said that he can't continue running a macro throughout a sequence. That was at the beginning of this video. I'll see if I can find it. Where was it? Okay, here it is. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. Okay, so Jason, he dashes forward. He does K2S. So that's like a pressure string. And then it's dash forward. He's dashing. Dash forward for, see, we have here, he has like, probably like 30 frames to react here, right? From the down back until the thing. And he does 1D after crossing himself up. Now, I had people go, well, why would you hit 2D there? And it's like, have you ever played against Saul? Have you ever looked at Saul memes? Have you ever seen Saul just like mashing 2D? It's because it's a good button. Like, you're just in a situation where you don't know what to do, you hit 2D. That's how Saul works. And honestly, if I were scripting this, I would not input, like, because it, remember, he just got crossed up, right? So if it were a script, you would input it as down right on this screen right now, right? Because it would think he's on the other side. But it's inputting it down left, which means that whatever the script is, it's already accommodated for the fact that they switch sides, which scripts don't really do that. So this legitimately just looks like a normal person. Also, like, it would be very weird to script like 5K 2S micro dash sweep. Again, you only have so many places to do a macro, and like, you can just do that by hand. It's not that hard. So that doesn't make any sense. This doesn't look like a macro to me at all. One of the ones that actually did stand out to me, and this was actually where they showed this, and I thought, wow, is he actually cheating? This one is weird. Let's find it. Okay, here's a different FRC. We talked before. This is SH, hold P for a bunch of times, and then release H. We had the P before, and now we have a different one. Okay, so here he does Fafnir. This one's really weird. So they talk about doing negative edge off FRC. I actually do negative edge off FRC for a bunch of stuff. I do it with Cliff. When I do super reflex roar into pole vaults to like get over to them, I use a negative edge on the kick for that. You have to use negative edge for if you watched my video where I did Cliff doing S roar over and over again to the rhythm of a song. I was negative edging the S roars on that as well. The thing is, doing this where you do the motion, you press the FRC and then do the motion and then release the button. That's not how negative edge FRCs work. That's not how you input them. Normally, what you do is you do the motion for the next move, and then you hit the FRC and then you release the button. And the reason you would do that is to get an instant special, right? So the reason you would do that is because you can't do the motion fast enough after the FRC. Here, he's somehow doing the motion in like 5 frames, which that's what caught my attention, is doing a perfect Fafnir in 5 frames. I looked at that and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of sus. Generally, anytime you see someone doing something frame perfect like this, that's like a red flag. And this is the first thing I've seen in this video that had a bunch of frame perfect inputs and kind of like set off some alarm bells, right? I was like, hold on. But this is not how you would do it, is the thing. You would do the motion beforehand, so you could get earliest possible Fafnir, which he doesn't do. But then, okay, so I started thinking about this, and I was like, why would you even do this? Well, first of all, this is not important enough to script, right? Again, you only have so many buttons you can press. Because even if you had like an entire keyboard and all these different shortcuts, right? You'd have to remember where all the buttons are and be able to press them in the right timing, which again is why you would play on keyboard, not on pad. And this would be a very weird thing to script. So, looking at this is not good. There's no reason to do this on purpose, and I'm inclined to think that he was trying to input 6-6, and we actually see here he gets Fafnir, and then 2 frames later he gets a 6 input for 18 frames, which he's holding. So it actually looks like he's trying to do 6-6 from 4, and he accidentally gets the Fafnir input and gets the Fafnir. Now I say that because there's no reason to do Fafnir here. If you've hit the FRC and you expect them to be in this spot, Fafnir's not even fast. So what you would do instead is you'd FRC and then do dash 5K. That's like the normal thing. And if you ask any Sol player, would you input Fafnir here, or would you do micro dash 5K? They'll all tell you that they would do micro dash 5K. So I honestly, as weird as this just looks like a really weird thing, right? Like, if anything in this video looks strange to me, this is it. But I'm inclined to believe that he accidentally did a perfect Fafnir input and wasn't even expecting to get it, and accidentally got the negative edge. That's what it looks like to me. So, this is actually baffling, though. Like, legitimately, the only explanation I have, because you wouldn't script this. There's no reason to do this. You would never want to do this on purpose, let alone cheat to do it. So it definitely looks like an execution error, especially, again, because he's holding 6 for 18 frames afterwards. That looks like I tried to FRC and then I'm trying to dash. And then here he's going to down back, which looks like, oh, something's wrong. I'm just going to block. So, like, if I had this happen to me, this is what my inputs would probably look like if I accidentally input Fafnir. Which, again, I don't know how you even managed to do that, but... but... it's still the simplest explanation, to me, at least. Alright, is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Talk about the FRCs. I did not watch this last part. I'm not going to watch that right now. I'm going to pause my replay and look at that real quick. Okay, I finished watching the video. I actually did watch it last night. I told you I went to bed really late, and I don't remember what was in it. So a couple more things we talked about. One, they said that he DPs really consistently. That's nothing, okay? Like, you literally, you get to negative edge DPs. You get the one you want? All right, whatever. Second thing, they show the DPRC, and they show his inputs again. They accuse him of doing a slashback OS. He is not doing a slashback OS. That is not how slashbacks are input. You would have to... so here's why the slashback OS does not work, okay? You are pressing SH during the FRC window, and so you can't get a slashback there, because the only time that's going to come out is if you get hit. So you're getting counter hit because you're doing gunflame. If you're doing it after the FRC, you're still holding SH. You're not repressing, so you're not getting a slashback. And in fact, when we watch him do the FRCs, we never see a slashback come out. So saying this is an OS doesn't make any sense, especially because a lot of the time he's not even holding 4. Right? We saw during the DPRC, I'm not going to try and dig down in the video, but they show that he does a DP into a red Roman cancel, and they accuse him of doing a slashback OS. If you look at it, he's not holding 4. What are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense. I think it's more likely that's just how he's pressing the buttons on his pad. I showed that earlier with the Melty Bud thing. If you try to press a pad and you start on the right-hand button, like on PlayStation would be circle, and then you press triangle X, you'll see that this is actually a normal way to press the 3 buttons if you're trying to press all 3 with just your thumb. The last thing I want to talk about was just statistical analysis. The claim is that when people miss FRCs, they tend to be early, not late. That is nonsense, okay? I have a background in statistics. I can tell you that's absolute gibberish. If you imagine you're like, yeah, when a guy throws a basketball at a net, he tends to only miss to the left. Like, no, that's not how error works. You will land on both sides. And showing a sample size of like 4 to say this is nonsense. As someone who's practiced a lot of FRC stuff, sometimes I'm late, sometimes I'm early, and I actually use display stuff. Like I'll use the yellow or the blue flash. I've actually experimented with trying to have Melty Blood run in the background so I can use this in input display. Arxis, please put Melty Blood style input display in your game. It's so much better than what Guilty Gear has. Yeah, I've done that to try and figure out if I'm early or late, because sometimes you don't know. So I think anyone who's consistently practiced a lot of FRCs will tell you, no, you absolutely are early sometimes and late sometimes. Some players will tend to trend one way versus the other, like they tend to be early versus late, but no one is consistently only early or only late. That doesn't make any sense. That's just not how reality works, right? That's not how consistency in something works. So that doesn't make any sense to me at all. My final conclusion is that Jason is not a cheater, and I think this makes the community look really bad. I really think a lot of people have been just accusing people of cheating. I really want to say, people who actually are cheating, fuck you for ruining the community and making everyone paranoid. That means PMage in particular and Alf. It's absolutely shameful that people have cheated in such a way that we make everyone suspect everyone else. It's absolutely shameful, and it's really, really upsetting. And it means that when we see someone who's good, we have to ask, are they actually good or are they cheating? And that really sucks. And so I can't prove that Jason's not cheating, but honestly, like, what I've seen is flimsy at best. And I think that there's some motivated reasoning going on here, right? So I really hope that Jason can clear his name, and if he can show a video of himself doing it, that would be great. But even if he can't do that, I'm not convinced he's a cheater unless I see something else. And I've personally actually also watched my replays with Jason, because I have played him extensively since we are friends, and I have never seen anything in his inputs that looks like cheating. I'll also say his execution is clearly phenomenal. I've played him in a variety of games, and he just has really, really solid execution. He tries to do hard things constantly. I mean, if you're in any of the channels, you'll see him just post like, oh, look, I did this Eno B&B or whatever, right? And when I'm playing against him, he's always trying to do like ambitious slashbacks and other high execution stuff you can't script. So I don't believe it at this stage. I'm not saying my mind can't be changed, but at the very least, I hope that I've given other people something to think about and maybe second guess this verdict, because I don't think it's legit. That's all I had to say. Thanks for listening, and see you guys around.